Okay, we are recording. Excellent. All right, gosh, I guess we did session 0, and then 1, and then 2, and this is session 3 of Funnel to Freebooters with our gang. And we don't have to go over all the introductions again from the beginning, but I will quickly recap where we're at here. Oh, whoops, we should do,
Ooh, boy.
There we go, gallery view. There's our village that our group of brave villagers came from. Let's see, the big thing that happened last session, or maybe it was in the previous session before that, was that Yarko got seriously injured and almost killed by a big mean wolf, and is currently being cared for by Topias, a young man, villager from Rayuna. Everybody else, I think, is pretty much intact. After pursuing the beast to across the highlands to its cave lair, the team went inside. Oh, after encountering the goat herd, Onychus went inside, sort of using Onychus as a enforced guide. Oh, and here's a map of the first area you guys went through, redrawn, so you can see your point of entry and where you traveled. And let me see if I can. Well, if I write in this anyway, this middle area with the little, is my pointer showing up on your screen?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so this little area here is where Yarko is currently camped out with Topias. That's where the wolf was slain. This right here was the tripwire holding the rockfall, which you guys did manage to avoid, right? You stepped over that one. And then you entered the beast's sleeping chamber where it was slumbering quietly. Found Onychus hiding in this storage area over here. Laid your hands upon him again and went deeper into the rock there, and descended about, I think it was a 15-foot descent on a ladder. Entered this chamber, which has some tables with books and alchemical accoutrement. Went down this tunnel here and encountered a strange growth that shrieked upon your going near to it, which I think at which point you guys retreated into the main room, and a door at the end of this hallway to the west opened up and a figure emerged. A kind of shrunken, pale-skinned old man wearing a ragged cloak and clutching a staff. There was an exchange of what appeared to be sorcerous energies. And I believe that Esais bravely saved Taimi, right?
Yeah, and is now burned.
Yeah. Now badly burned on the shoulder and neck. And then, but the big dramatic moment was when Paiviki charged straight into the hallway and defeated this sorcerer. Meanwhile, Mirin had accosted Onychus again, and with the defeat of the sorcerer, Onychus seemed very relieved and led you down this southern tunnel into a cave in which a number of wooden cages were either finished or still under construction. And there you met Durbin the Venati, who had been under some kind of enchantment to build these cages. And in 2 of those cages were the missing villagers. Lomo, dear Lomo, who is Kosti the cobbler's wife, and the name, and Sinelma, the master brewer from town, the master distiller. So that is where we pick up with you in the cave. having just, and both Onykus and Durbin are appear to be a little bit in shock and disbelief over the fact that the sorcerer, who apparently lorded over them, has been defeated finally. So that's where we're going to pick up. And everybody is in that room except for Yarko and Topias. So what happens next?
Is everybody doing okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine, I think.
I think Essayis is probably struggling, but I don't think he's unable to go forward.
Yeah, how many
he
hit
is.
points
Let me
does he have
just
left?
actually, yeah. 1
Out of
4.
Yeah, he's I would say he's probably still, I think probably in shock, and this whole thing has been very intense, and he's fine for now, but once things settle down, he might be pretty much wiped out. But I think for now, I mean, obviously he's close to the edge there, but the injury, it basically turned his skin black, and it looks almost like stained. It's almost like he's been stained with some kind of charcoal pigment or something. But the injury is kind of very sensitive to the touch.
Yeah, right. Shock is probably the right word.
He got blasted with the staff. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
In Taimi's opinion, the stuff that's down here, while it maybe didn't come directly from the village, like this guy was profiting off the village's misfortune, and so I feel Taimi feels okay looting the place. And so she makes her way towards the exit of the southern chamber with the cells, and says, I want to see what else is down here before we leave this wretched place. Will anyone come with me?
Paiviki says, wait, we've already fallen into 2 traps. Even if there's nobody left.
When Paiviki says that, I give a stern look at Onykus. Is there nobody left?
I have not spent much time down here. I've only ever come to the bottom of the ladder before. I know not what else lies in these cold depths.
Well, you can ask Durbin, right? He can tell us. Does he know?
Yeah, they were able to speak some language together.
Yes, so Onykus speaks to Durbin in Venati. And Muirin, knows a little bit, I think we determined. Muirin knows enough to recognize the language. I don't think is fluent in it. But observing them, they appear to be having an honest exchange. And Onykus says that Durbin can't recall anything. In fact, the last thing Durbin remembers, he was headed out of the town where he lives to collect firewood.
Oh. Yeah, well, that does us little good. If his mind was ensorcelled, ensorcelled?
Ensorcelled.
Ensorcelled, then there might be something down here.
What is the name of the town that Durban is from?
In translation, hold on, I have that written down actually. Let me just figure out where I wrote it. Salatavala. In your tongue, this means wall of salt.
And I look, has anybody heard of this? Mirren?
You actually, you, the villagers of Rayuna, know that far to the south, so you guys have crossed some of the highlands to reach this cave, and far, far to the south across the highlands, on the shore of some water, which none of you have ever seen, you've heard that there is a Venati village by that name. So that it does actually ring a bell for you guys.
Okay. And I go, or Paiviki comes up to Durban and says, Rayuna, and kind of gestures to everybody else, Rayuna. Maybe he hasn't heard of it.
His eyes kind of light up, and he nods his head. Says, Daki, Daki. And Onika says, yes, yes. He understands.
Oh. Taini, I wonder if we should rest up. Do you think it's safe to make camp here before we venture any farther? We all seem to be in a bit of a rough state.
I'm trying to just think how to phrase this in character. We only have, to the best of our knowledge, one point of exiting these dark tunnels, and with the beast merely sleeping upstairs, I worry at even the slimmest possibility that that one point of exit could become inaccessible to us. I would rather finish our business here and make haste.
True.
But we might find some other point of egress, perhaps some, foul escape tunnel known only to the being you brought down.
You mean Onikas?
No, I would we even know the words wizard and sorcerer?
Oh,
You're muted,
we can't hear you, Jason.
Jason.
Sorry. you may have different words in your language for wizard or sorcerer, but one who uses magic is certainly something that stories are told about. And there may even be like an occasional traveling magician or something that comes through town. It's certainly rare, but the idea of somebody using magic is like, people nod their heads knowingly.
Okay. Just clarifying. Yeah, the magician that you bravely slayed.
That makes sense. Esais, Mirren, what do you say?
Marion is okay. I agree that time is of the essence, but I don't think we shouldn't explore too much before making camp. I worry about Esai's well-being. He may not last much longer in his state.
I look to Onikas and say, the beast, Isumat, what was he like before? You said you knew him before he changed. Even then, what would he do to find strangers in his cave?
What would he do to find strangers in his cave? Oh, to what
If
would
he
he
found
yes. If he was hungry, he might likely eat them. And he was always hungry.
Is there anything you can do to convince him that we're friendly?
It's still not tolerates my company because I provide him with goat milk and mushrooms, which he enjoys. Without me, he would not have these items. Perhaps you might be able to offer him some tasty foodstuffs. But I'm afraid that my ability to communicate with him is very limited, and the idea of certainly to convince him not to eat you would be a challenge.
Didn't he speak?
He has some command of language, yes.
Okay.
In the village, he demanded all sorts of things. I think it sounds like we should hurry.
That would be wise. By not being able to convince him, I mean he needs he would need something to bargain with. With words, I would not be able to convince him to not eat you. Islamat relies upon the physical very much.
Kosti chimes in and says, "He's a creature of the wilds, and it's bad luck to attempt to harm one of those things. They're the caretakers of these wild places, and best that we finish our business here and get out."
Agree.
I don't want to tangle with a beast.
Even if you chose to tangle with Islamat, it would be a challenging undertaking.
Did anyone pick up the sorcerer's weapon? Did Paviki take it or
His staff.
staff?
I think so.
Yeah,
Paviki took the ring, right?
Oh,
she took like a bracelet or something.
Yeah. Sorry, it was a bracelet, but
Yeah.
didn't take anything else off the body.
Yeah, she didn't take it.
Do we want to leave somebody with the villagers, like maybe in that main foyer? Do we want to send somebody up with them to rejoin Topias and Yarko, just to get them, if there is, any sort of potential danger as we kind of finish off this place? Or are we fine leaving them in kind of the pseudo library entrance?
I think it would make sense to send someone back with them. I feel like SAEs would probably want to go back. But probably isn't necessarily going to protect everyone.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous of sending people past that sleeping beast.
Oh, didn't we kill it? We killed it.
No, not the wolf.
Oh,
Not the wolf. The big,
No.
Yeah, not the wolf. This one, yeah.
the big sleeping beast.
Oh, he's cute. Maybe while some of us rest in the main chamber, we can, some of us others can go down the hallway and take a look just to see what's there.
So, like, maybe SAEs who's injured, plus the villagers, and Durbin would hang out in the middle room there.
Yeah, does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, it's close by.
Okay. So that would leave Taimi, Muirin, Kosti, and Paiviki. I guess, would you guys take Onikus with you, or would you leave him in the...
Oh, I would. I'm not letting that guy out of my sight. I trust this new bozo Durbin more than this guy.
So are you like, is Taimi like holding Onikus by the collar kind of thing? Like, how are you keeping a hold on him? You did have a rope before that was tied to his hands, but he got out of that.
He got out of that. I'm holding him by like the scruff of the shirt, like kind of leading him in front of me.
Okay, got it. Okay, so then it'll be the 5 of you. And which direction were you going to go? The north opening, or towards the direction that the sorcerer came from?
I vote for going to the west.
Yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Can somebody tend to Thais? I know Kosti has some herbs and poultices.
Yeah, certainly. I think that if Kosti wants to stay behind, or you know what, Lomo actually is quite, that's totally her department. So if you give Lomo those supplies, Lomo can, and it's herbs and poultices work over time, so it'll take a little while for SAs to feel better. So that's great. Yeah, if you just leave that with Lomo,
okay,
you should be good. And when the time comes, when the in a little while, that would heal 1d4. But that'll take some time.
Are the are they hungry? Are the villagers like hungry? Do they look like malnourished while they've been down here?
It's only been like a day and a half, so they definitely are hungry. they're not starving, but they were, if offered food, they would could consume it thankfully.
Yeah, I'll give them some rations.
Okay, great. You want to mark off, like, do you want to have them split just to like keep their bellies from grumbling, or give them each a full?
I'll give them each a full one.
Okay. They're both very grateful. Sinelma is particularly grateful, and you, I guess out of all of you, the person who notices this the most is Muirin. Actually takes note of the fact that Sinelma seems humbled and grateful, and has been very quiet. Like can't really take in everything that's happened to her. So she accepts the food very gratefully, and very kind of, as soon as she takes a bite, her hunger kind of kicks in, and she kind of really digs in. Lomo sets the food aside so that she can focus on tending to Esais. But they're both thankful for that.
Great. All right. Let's, I guess, start with the magician.
Yeah. So
anything on his person?
He's wearing this ragged robe. Let's see what we got here. So there's this sort of polished wooden staff black wooden staff that he's still clutching in his right hand. In the light now, who's got the torch? Is that Paiviki? Who's carrying that? Or Kosti?
Kosti had one.
Okay. So mark
and I think
another.
somebody else had one too.
Oh yeah, Kosti was hiding under the table with the torch. That's right. Well, let's say Kosti is providing the light, and you should mark a duration on that because of the stuff that's happened. So now that you're closer and you have a moment to examine the body of this person, you notice that the place where the bracelet had been removed from his left wrist, his skin overall is like paper white. It's like disturbingly white. Obviously, he's dead now. Even more, so even more pale. But there is a bluish black mark around his wrist where he had been wearing that bracelet, where the skin actually looks a little depressed. He is barefoot, and his fingernails and toenails are just, they're ragged and unkempt. Yeah. He has scraggly hair on his mostly bald head. I believe that Paiviki sort of stabbed him in the right through the side. So there's a fair amount of blood on the floor. On his belt is a cylindrical leather case. And next to that, tied on with a thong, is a ceramic, a kind of ceramic, what do I want to call it? It's like a circular ceramic vessel with a cork in the top of it, and it's sort of a kind of a pale blue ceramic, pale blue glaze. Yeah, that appears to be the extent of it. And his the one hand that he laid on Paiviki, do you remember he laid a hand on Paiviki's leg, and this mud kind of spread up across the leg? So the cracked pieces of that mud are sort of scattered amongst his blood. And his hand, the hand that he laid on Paiviki, the same hand that wore the bracelet, is also caked with dried mud.
I want to take the case. Paiviki cuts the little lashing of the case.
Okay.
So she can take it with her.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the ceramic vessel. I mean, my thought is that even if it's stuff that we can't use, or if it's stuff that Taimi doesn't think that she can use in the immediate future, all of this is going to be like leverage to like stick it to the high court representative back.
Yeah, got it. So Paiviki, the case is it's got a leather kind of cap on one end with a little bone, a bead made out of bone strung through with some kind of tendon or something that's kind of keeping the cap on it. So there is that you could open that case. There might be something inside of it if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I'll carefully open it just to take a look to see what's in there.
It's a curled up piece of looks like stiff vellum.
And she takes it out just to look at it. Does it have anything written on it, or?
Yeah, it's there's like a spidery script done with some kind of heavy nib, some kind of broad nibbed marking utensil of some kind, and it's the writing is sort of a dark brown color, and Paiviki is pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
Paiviki's got like a 16 intelligence. Paiviki is the smartest one in the lot of you. So smart enough to know that smart enough to read your language, and has never seen this language before. It looks to Paiviki like a bunch of like circles and triangles and weird marks.
Okay.
Like geometric shapes.
Interesting. She puts it back in the case.
Okay.
And then picks up the staff.
Yeah.
And kind of holds it away from her face so it doesn't shoot at her. And she's like, what are we going to do with this? She kind of holds it up to Mirren.
Did it? I'll reach out and feel the weight of it. Is it like heavy? What is it? The quality of it.
It appears to be very finely crafted. It's hardwood of some kind that's black, and it's been polished or oiled, so it's super smooth to the touch. And at the top of it, it's got like a weird gnarled kind of head with some kind of holes or pockets in the wood that have also been kind of polished that appear possibly decorative. Doesn't look like anything was ever in those holes. It just looks like a very nice, although somewhat dark in aspect, staff, and you don't. It feels nicely balanced. It doesn't feel particularly heavy.
We should take it with us. I say to Paiviki. Might be useful to someone back home.
Yeah. Paiviki's kind of laying down right now. She kind of looks around.
I'll hold it.
All right.
Paiviki's laying down. Is that what you said?
She's kind of laden.
Oh, laden. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the staff weighs 1. If you want to mark that there, Maren.
Okay. Yeah, I can carry that for now.
Let's push on. I have no desire to like bury this guy or like, but Taimi gives him a wide berth when she removed the ceramic flask. She did so trying to interact with the body as little as possible.
Okay. So you move on down the tunnel, and you get to the point right before that little alcove where the strange stalagmite shape, whichever one sticks up from the ground,
Yeah.
that conical thing. And as you pass that alcove, it once again goes, it lets out like this high-pitched, quavering shriek.
Does it appear to be made of rock?
Do you inspect it closer?
Yeah, I do.
When you get closer and in the light of the torch that Kosti's holding, it looks, the surface, at first it does resemble rock. In fact, it's the same color as all the rock around it, but when you get closer to it, it has more of a kind of rubbery kind of consistency to it. And there's a little, up along near the top, there are these series of little slits, and these little slits are opening, and the shrieking is coming out of them, to the point where when you get close, you actually have to kind of cover your ears.
So it's some sort of creature.
Apparently so.
Huh. Tempting. I touch it. What does it feel like?
It feels kind of a little spongy.
Ugh. Ugh.
And when you do it, when you touch it, it gets like louder. Like all of the little sets go whoop, they open up, and they're like as you're like, and you have to step back and protect you.
Right. I get it. I'm backing up. If it was like a thick hide thing, I was thinking about maybe killing it, and make like a nice like something out of it, like tan the hide. But if it's spongy, that doesn't sound like it'd be easy to skin or useful as a hide.
I mean, Taimi is a hunter, and
Yeah.
pretty easily assess the potential usefulness of something. And definitely whatever its exterior is not something that you think you could turn into a protective thing.
How is this thing attached to the floor?
When you look down close, it comes down to the floor, and then the edges of it kind of turn in a little bit. Like there's a little bit of a curve, and you'd have to actually kind of get under it somehow to see how it's actually attached.
Yeah.
But from what it looks like it's just kind of resting on the floor.
This thing was wildly effective at its job. But I don't see how it could be applied. It might not be able to survive. You know what? Taimi isn't that intelligent to make that statement. Forget that. It's loud. I keep walking.
So is Taimi in the lead here?
Yeah. I'm really interested at what I'm going to find, but I'm also wanting to keep that rascal from going anywhere.
So that means that, do you have a weapon besides your bow?
Yes, I do have a knife. Okay,
so you probably got your knife out, or yeah. So you got Onikas, and then we got Kosti holding the torch. Paiviki, how is Paiviki equipped?
She's got a shield and a spear.
Oh yeah, great. And Muirin, what are you carrying?
She has her own staff and spear, and also wizard spear.
So between the staff and this, you got two staffs and a spear. it might be hard. You could feasibly, strap one of those or both staff to your back and carry the spear. Do you want to have?
Right.
It probably
I'll
makes sense to have
carry.
one of
Yeah,
those. Yeah.
I'll carry the spear,
So you have
and
the
the other
spear.
two are. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So Taimi leads the way down the hallway. Now, this whole time as you've been approaching, there's been a flickering blue light emanating from the end of this passageway, which, if you recall, when the magician or whatever emerged, the light was kind of flickering behind him. And you get down here. Let's see if I can draw on top of this black surface. It's not the prettiest. You round the corner and you find yourself looking through two open double doors into a room, which will just have to be a room drawn in black for the moment. So there's two, right at the entrance to that room are two doors made of stone, like cut stone, and they're sort of open. There's no particular carving or marks on them. They're just kind of like raw chiseled stone. Let's see here. Near the middle of the room, on the floor, there is a circle. So sorry, I should say that. So you got the torch, but the most light, the brightest light in the room comes from here, where there is an iron brazier. So it's like a fire bowl that's sitting probably about waist height, and it's on like an iron tripod stand. And there is a blue flame. If the fire bowl is at waist level, the flame itself probably goes to the head level of an adult human. It's like a blue flickering flame, which is not something any of you have seen before. Perhaps Muirin has seen something like this before. In any case, it does not appear to be a natural flame. It's casting this blue light across the whole room. In the middle of the room, cut into the stone of the floor, is a complicated, twisting, swirling kind of pattern that is in a circle. Sitting in the brazier is a vessel, probably about 8 inches in diameter, and it's got a long handle that's wrapped in some kind of cloth. So it's sitting, the vessel itself is sitting right in the brazier, and there's a very, very powerful kind of toxic smell in the air, to the point where Taimi has to like kind of, Onikas is going like this, and Taimi has her hand up blocking her nose. There's some kind of smell emanating from the brazier, and you can see just from the doorway looking that there's something bubbling in the vessel that's sitting there in the brazier. The other things you see are in this area over here. There is a hammer and chisel just lying on the ground, and there is a stool next to the hammer and chisel right here. And sitting on the stool is an open book. Oh, and last thing, kind of important, the far side of the room, carved in the wall, is a strange face. Let's see if I can make a little, well, maybe it's a face. That and that is about probably about 10 feet tall on the wall. So it's a pretty big, takes up a good part of that wall. And glittering in the eye sockets glittering in the blue light are the face is carved out of the stone of the wall, and glittering in the eye sockets are three, I mean, who knows what they are, but they're glittering kind of amber colored objects in the eye sockets. Is that all clear? Does anybody have any questions about any of that?
No, not yet.
Can you describe the circle in the middle again? I didn't quite follow that.
Yeah, so if you sort of step into the room a little bit and make room so that Kosti can hold the torch up and Paviki can get a better look. The circle is cut into the floor, and it's a kind of swirling wave pattern with various other kind of marks made around it. The interior of the circle is just bare stone, so it's just a ring of this kind of carved design. And as you look at it in the reflection of the light, you see that probably, see if I can mark it here, this much of it, there's something metal filling up the pattern. Does that make sense? It's like a silver color.
Yeah. What is, you said that there's something bubbling in the cauldron on the brazier?
Yeah.
Can we get close enough without it just like burning our eyes or whatever?
Yeah. Mainly it's like the smell is pretty bad, and your eyes are definitely, you can feel it stinging, but you can get close enough to peer. The fire, the flame, the blue flame is giving off heat. But it's not, you can get you can get a couple feet away. You can definitely get within reach of the handle, which is sticking out. And from there you can see that there's a bubbling silver substance in the, what do you call the crucible, right? That's a crucible?
Yeah, it's a crucible, yeah. I'm going to take it off the heat just to maybe stop the fumes that it's emitting.
Okay. So Tommy reaches out, and it's quite heavy. So you're gonna, I guess Paviki's gonna have to be Onikasa's steward, while Taimi uses both hands to heave the thing up and move it to one side and set it down on the ground.
Yeah, I just put it in that corner there.
Okay.
You said there was a book on the stool.
Yeah, there's a simple kind of crude wooden stool next to the hammer and chisel. This is all, in the drawing it looks much more orderly. It looks like whoever was using the hammer and chisel just kind of tossed them aside. There are sort of bits of stone scattered all over, mostly along the edges of the room. And there's like a little crude wooden stool, and there's an open book with what looks like a pretty thick black leather cover, but it's open to these pages.
Viki wants to check it out and see if she can make any sense of the writing.
Okay. Muirin, are you up to anything?
I'm curious about just the center thing. I just interested with that.
Just gonna investigate that.
Yeah.
So you move forward to get a little closer look at that. Kosti is just sort of providing light, looking around. Paiviki, just looking at the book without touching it, you can tell that it appears to be written in the same language as the scroll you found on the belt of the
Hmm.
magician.
And then I say, Mirren, did you find some other books earlier?
I did. I walk over and I pull out what I have, but I have a journal, and I can't remember what language that was in. That was probably in just the common language, right?
Yeah.
And then I have a runes of ancient Venati script, but I can't really read it.
Yeah, you can make out words here and there, but you're not versed enough to be able to read that one.
And
And it doesn't look like it's the same.
Correct.
Pattern.
Correct. Yep. Different language. Venati script is much more like kind of the marks are sort of chisel shaped, like I want to say it's like Sumerian. It's like cuneiform. It's kind of like cuneiform. It's like a kind of a runic series of marks, whereas this other language is like there's a more of a fluidity to it, but also these weird angles and sort of what appear to be scribbles. Very, very different looking languages.
Okay.
What do you three think he was trying to do here?
Is Timey asking the smarter folks?
Yeah, absolutely. Is this art?
I think he seems to be summoning the demon lord that gives him power. Something like that. It says by Vicky. Sorcerers are supposed to make circles, aren't they?
Definitely something nefarious going on here. But he hadn't gotten very far, it looks like.
We should make efforts to make sure that no one else, because I'm the amicus, thinks to use this place or its tools for any dark purposes.
Maybe there's a way to destroy or disarm the spiritual connection in this room, the demonic connection to this room.
Do these scribbles mean anything? Pointing at the floor.
I guess Mirren can roll to find answers if you want to try that.
Can I
drawing upon your knowledge.
intuit it? Because I'm not smart enough to like create a.
Well, let's see what it says under find answers. It says, yeah, wisdom to sense. You got decent wisdom?
Yeah, okay.
The sense of discern, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sort of just gonna have to, based on experience, not actually knowing what that is. 13?
Nice.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Okay. So I'm supposed to give you a clear and thorough answer, and you may ask follow-up questions if you choose. Can you tell me what Mirren's like previous experience with magic has been like in whatever clan or group that Mirren hails from? Was magic, a common thing, or has Mirren ever known people that used it?
Yes, but a different kind of magic. I think magic is part of it's a common practice to sort of use magic where she comes from, whether to add like spells to like weapons or like protect things or heal stuff, but I think she's not familiar with this kind of sort of like sorcerer type magic. So,
It's
and
better
I
than
don't. Right.
sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't think she herself uses magic regularly, for reasons that she doesn't like to think about.
Yeah, okay. So I think looking at this, examining it closer, Mirren is very discomfited by it. It's very you don't understand the specific design here, but the shape of it and the particular kind of motif of the pattern makes you uncomfortable. And there's various kind of like hooks and kind of pointed shapes, and the relationship between those shapes is very it kind of chills you a little bit. Like you kind of want your instinct is to retreat. Not that there's any imminent danger, but you just really don't like the look of this. And I would say, given your background and your knowledge and having heard something about this stuff, you think that it is probably a summoning circle, which, as Paiviki has heard, is something that is employed to bring an entity or creature of some kind into this world. And Weirin knows enough to know that if a summoning circle is enchanted properly, it will keep the summoned creature kind of under control.
Is there a way to destroy the summoning circle?
There's a hammer and chisel there on the floor. So you feel like you could probably deface it, and if you ruin it, it seems like the pattern itself is essential to it being a well-made and effective circle. And because the old man was pouring, it looks like molten metal into the pattern, that appears to have been part of the necessary ritual. And clearly he did not complete that yet. But those two things, like if, Mirren figures that the silver is like insurance. It's like an extra level of protection, that maybe just a stone carving would be enough, but this person was taking extra steps to make super sure, and expending some resources to do that. So somehow ruining both of them, but most importantly, the kind of underlying stone pattern would render it unusable if it was sufficiently wrecked. If you kind of like vandalized it and left, made some marks here and there and broke it up, somebody could still potentially use it. It would just not do a very good job of keeping whatever was summoned at bay.
Yeah. That feels like great Onikas work.
That what Taimi says. Get to work.
Yeah. I take the chisel and hammer and kind of push it against his chest.
You can't.
In mock sincerity, do you want some other dark magician to come here and utilize these resources to encircle you and the beast again?
His shoulders just kind of droop, and he walks forward and gives you one look. Looks to Kosti for some kind of comfort. Does this Kosti respond at all?
Kosti's like, I have to agree with Taini. We should do something about this. Here, you don't want to do it? I'll do it for you.
Onicus holds out the chisel.
No. I put a hand on. No, brave Coasty.
Okay, then Onicus gets to work. Ching, 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 and starts to chip away at it with no, the first blow is struck and there appears to be no ill effect. So then he just continues to deface the carving.
Paviki looks a little bit closer at the big carved face.
Oh, yeah. So you walk around the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And approach it.
What are those things in the eyes that are reflecting light?
They appear to be I guess Paviki would probably, they appear to be topaz. And they're just sort of resting. Each one of those eye sockets is probably 8 or 10 inches across, 10 inches across. And they're, as you can see, they're sort of almond shaped. And the depression is maybe, just like an inch or two deep. And there's no socket or anything. The gems are just kind of resting, each one, and they're not identical. And they're not even cut. They're just kind of they've been kind of roughly polished. But it's 3 kind of rough topaz gems.
Paviki takes one.
Okay.
And how big is it?
It's pretty big. It's about 2-3 inches in diameter. It's a pretty big kind of chunk.
And then she'll pick up the other 2 as well.
Okay, so she reaches up and pulls those out. So altogether, they don't add up to 1 weight, so they're 0 weight. You just need someplace to kind of carry them.
Yeah. I think she's got like a backpack or something that she got from the village. She's got a lot of little things.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah,
that's sort of what it looks like. Each
Okay.
one, it's like a rough, golden colored gem. Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching.
Is there? I wonder if the wizard could have had any other secrets hiding in this area. Paviki's going to scan the room to look to see if she can notice any secret hiding spots or.
Okay. Why don't you find answers with intelligence?
Okay. She rolled an 8 plus 2.
Okay. A clear and thorough answer is that everything appears to be as you see it. The room itself appears to be carved from the rock, so there's no seams. With Kosti going around with you, holding up the torch and examining all the little variations in the surface of the rock, looking at the carved face itself. There doesn't appear to be anything hidden anywhere.
Let's get out of here.
Has Onykus done a thorough job?
It's going to take a while to. I mean, if you want to thoroughly chisel up the stone that makes up this thing, it will take. That's like a day's work.
Is the metal in the crucible molten still?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's thick. It's thickening, but it could still be poured.
I am too freaked out by this to bring it back and use it as like money. I'm too freaked out. Yeah, I'm too freaked out to bring it back. And because Muirin described this as like a component or like some part of this ritual, I want to get rid of it because I don't want it to be useful to anybody who might come across this stuff later. Is there like a crevice in the rock? Is this like a completely sealed, smooth tunnel, or is there like any point in between the rocks or like a crack in the floor that I could just like pour this shit down?
Why don't you get lucky?
2d6 or 1d6?
2d6 plus your luck modifier.
This is rolling my box. That'd be a 4, Jason.
Yeah, this whole upstairs, you'd have to haul it upstairs. Down here, everything's just carved from rock. Upstairs, some of the surfaces were natural. It's like a jumble of different boulders and stuff. But down here, yeah, there's no place to. There's no hole to pour it down.
Okay. I think that we should dispose of this. I worry that even with Onykus's great work ethic, it would take us much too long to sully this this circle that the magician has created. But I fear someone else using this place for nefarious purposes. So we should get rid of this, take the book, or destroy the book.
Paibiki says, "Oh no, I'm taking this. This is way too interesting."
So does she pick it up off the,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually, the book is pretty substantial. So that's weight 1.
Okay.
And remember, you can carry over your capacity. Just if you try to do something while you're over capacity, you'll be at a disadvantage.
Yeah. Yeah, she's over capacity.
Wow. So she's really laden, right? Because she's strong.
Yeah, the shield and spear each weigh 2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And she's carrying food and a hatchet and a handsaw for some reason.
Okay.
Great.
So she can stuff that into her. That probably fills up the backpack.
Okay.
It's only weight 1, right?
The book, yeah.
I think I can carry it for you, Paiviki, if you want help.
If you trust the elf.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. When we get back to town, I want to read this thing.
I'm sure you do.
Are you sure that's a wise idea?
Well, nobody's.
Sure.
What if merely glimpsing the symbols imparts some sort of dark ambition onto you?
Paibiki laughs and she says, I've never heard of reading hurting anyone before.
I wouldn't know. I've never read and I'm still in one piece.
Proof.
And then Paibiki kind of pats her on the shoulders like, maybe I'll teach you someday.
Not with this you won't. I trust you with that. And I trust you to do the right thing with it.
So Muirin puts the book in the backpack?
Yeah. Okay. And that is my weight limit.
And you're at, okay. All right, and I guess, is Onykus you gonna leave Onykus to keep chiseling away?
No.
No. Okay. So should he carry? Are you going to bring the hammer and chisel with you? And
Yeah, I will. Just to throw it in a river or something.
and would you want him to carry it, or are you going to take it from him?
No, I don't want him with any sort of weapon. I'll carry it.
Yeah. So together, it's not like those aren't huge. That's one weight total for the hammer. And
Okay, I'm at my limit.
Okay. Wow. You guys are burdened adventurers. Well, not quite burdened yet, but okay. Is there anything else you want to do in this room? Is everybody ready to?
Yeah.
Oh well, what's the weight of the crucible? I want to take that at least.
Oh, that weighs 2.
That's weight 2.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to carry it back to the main room where I'm going to put it down.
Okay. So as you pass the the conical creature, it shrieks again, and you make your way back to the main room, and everybody's kind of looking at you. Well, Lomo and Sinelma are looking at you with these distressed, and Durbin. They all have this distress. Esseis has been trying to reassure them that it was just this strange creature, but they're all a little disturbed by the by that sound. And you all arrive back in that room there, and Esseis has healed 1d4 damage. So Donna, you can roll a d4.
Okay. 3. Wow. Amazing.
Back on top, right?
Yes, and
Nice.
4.
So you have this permanent disfigurement of this blackened blotch, but you're back in form. So
And
mark
I
off.
can't see it myself.
That's right. You can't see it. You're already. I mean, if I remember right, SCS is kind of stinky and smelly and a little off-putting to people in the first place. So that just adds to his charm. What was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, and mark off 1 use of the herbs and poultices there.
Yep.
And also 1 duration from Kosti's torch.
Okay. I burned through the previous torch he was carrying, so he just took another one from Paiviki.
Okay.
Well, shall we check the northern chamber?
Yes.
Okay.
Esais, how are you feeling?
Much better. Thank you so much, Lomo.
I move my hand and like kind of touch the same area of my face as Esais's mark. Does it hurt?
I can't feel it.
Oh, like it's numb.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like there's no nerve there, right? Yeah, I assume because the herbs really helped. That it's the skin probably is just not sensitive to anything anymore.
Yeah, there's salve kind of spread all over it right now, like some kind of herbal stuff is spread all over it to the point where it was quite tender before, but now essays can he can wear his tunic or whatever fairly easily now without flinching, thanks to Lomo's tending. Okay, so you guys are going to take a step to the north, right?
Yeah.
Are you joining us, Esais?
I am.
Okay.
Good. Nice.
Oof.
It's a little cave that appears to be, you can only assume, the sorcerer's quarters. There's a ragged red rug covering the floor. There's a large, rough desk and Onika says, I made that. There's a desk and a stool. The desk is covered with pieces of parchment and a few books. And along the wall to the northeast there is a bookshelf, also with a number of books on it. And then there's a simple wooden bed. And next to the wooden bed, between the wooden bed and the wall, is a little chest, a little small little chest. The bed is just like, it's like a, several planks of wood on the floor, and then on top of that, some kind of mattress of some kind, and more of a sleeping pad. And there's a little wooden chest on the floor next to it, and on top of the chest is a thick, kind of half-melted white candle. Also on the desk are various writing implements.
Let's loot it.
Kosti says, hold on now. Let me take a look. And Kosti wants to just kind of scan around and see if he can see anything dangerous.
Just from standing in the doorway holding the torch up?
Well, kind of slowly making his way forwards.
Okay.
Looking to see if there's any traps or whatever.
So would you say you're discerning or studying? Do you want to use wisdom or intelligence?
It doesn't matter. They're the same
Okay.
for him. But,
sounds like Kosti's discerning from what you described.
Sure.
So roll to find answers. That's 2d6 plus your wisdom modifier.
So that's a 7.
Okay. It says, my answer is cryptic or incomplete, but I'll tell you how you can learn more. You can learn more by really getting in there and searching around.
Okay.
Like with that, you're gonna like everything seems okay, but you're just gonna have to do a more thorough search.
Yeah. So Kosti just says, we better be careful. You never know what could be waiting in the personal area of this crazed sorcerer.
The personal area. Do you want to? Does Kosti want to continue searching and have everybody hang back, or allow everybody to kind of come in and just be cautious?
I think you would let everybody come in, but yeah.
Stay on your toes. Okay.
I move with Onikas. Onikas?
Onikas is how he says it.
Onikas. I'm going to move with Onikas to the desk.
Okay.
And I motion to it. You made this.
Upstairs. I lowered it with rope. I don't know how he came by this other furniture, but I made the desk for him. So there's parchment and a few books along the desk. On the desk, let's see. Oh, and leaning up against the wall on the desk is a piece of slate. I'm going to say it's about a foot long and maybe 4 inches wide and maybe half an inch thick. A piece of kind of rough cut gray slate. Let me see if I can. There we go. My drawings are still there. Let me see if there's an easy way to move stuff here. I'll just delete these things so you guys know what's in the room. All right. Okay. Yeah, so this is what this piece of slate looks like.
Are those names that I recognize?
They are names in your language, but you do not recognize them. But yes, they are definitely the top writings there are definitely names. And there's sort of below this on the desk is an iron stylus, basically, like an iron spike almost.
Yeah.
And you assume that's what was used to kind of etch the letters into this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess reverse course. Taimi can't read, so I don't know.
Right, so somebody else is going to maybe...
Yeah, it bears no meaning to me. Oh, a piece of rock.
I think Paiviki or Muirin can look over your shoulder and see a piece of rock.
And Paiviki says, it looks like Virparantan Tannen is the lucky one.
What do you mean?
Well, you see all these other names here? These are names of people that are crossed out here. Down at the bottom it says, curse them all, curse them all, curse them all.
Curse them all.
Yeah. Maybe these ones, he finished them off, or maybe he hasn't finished cursing the last one. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get revenge.
Are these names familiar to you, Paiviki?
I don't know. Do I know any of these people?
You can roll to find answers with intelligence.
Okay. Oh. I rolled one of the numbers that you can roll and not succeed when you have a 16 intelligence. There's only a couple of them. I rolled a 3.
You rolled a 3.
Yeah.
You can't even bump that up. Okay. Yep. Nope. Nothing. And mark a duration on the torch.
Okay. Do you get to mark failure on a roll like that or not?
Yes. Sorry. You get to mark intelligence.
Okay.
Yeah, and Paiviki being, I mean, there is a chance that since Muirin is well-traveled, normally I wouldn't allow another roll because Paiviki is kind of the smartest person in the room. But if Muirin, because Muirin's well-traveled, Muirin could make a roll if they wanted to, if you want to.
I guess what I'm wondering, do we think that this handwriting was made by this same magician? Is that what we assumed?
Most likely.
It's very spiteful. I don't know, petty maybe. Okay, here I go. So 6 plus 2, 8.
You got an 8. You're not sure, but that last name, the Rantanen, does ring a bell. And in your mind, it is someplace to the east of where you are. So you would have to either ask around or go, but that last name does sound familiar to you.
Okay. Well, I'll make a note of it then.
Paiviki wants to check out whatever other things that are written on the desk.
On the desk there. Nothing, but mainly it's blank parchment. Oh, there is one. Okay, you do find on a scrap of goat vellum, kind of tacked to the top of the desk with like a little iron hobnail. It has the word Mankira in all capital letters. Let me. I'll go into the chat window here to show you. Okay, so this is what is written. Oh, sorry. Written in dark brown ink, and then underneath that, can you see that in the chat window there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last bit. Sakagara, you all know as the name of a town to the east of Reuna.
Did you have something else written on there that said a useful thief or something?
It says Mankira, burglar, useful, with a question mark. And then the name of this town, Sakagara.
Okay. Got it. All right. Paiviki would like to take the extra vellum, and is there stuff to write with?
Yes.
Some ink and such.
Yep.
And then she would like to go look at the bookcase.
Okay. Yeah, there's at least a dozen books of different shapes and sizes from a distance. A few of them on their spines, they have markings that tell you that they are written in the common tongue, and other ones are, given the languages you've encountered so far, there appear to be one or two in Venati, and at least one in the strange language that's in the same book that that you found in the ritual chamber. So you're staring at the bookcase there, and to find out more about it, you'll have to start going through the books if you want to figure out specifically what kind of books they are and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, she's curious. She's got this idea that if she can learn some of the tricks that this magician used, then she'll be able to go places.
Yeah. Well, the key obviously will be learning that language.
Yeah, but she was thinking she might be able to see if there's any kind of books of translation or anything like that.
Okay. Great. So you're going to start to sort of rifle through those?
Yeah, she will, but she's feeling a little bit nervous about it too. So she's kind of carefully pulling out a book and then getting ready to jump out of the way. And
Okay, so you pull out a book with a brown kind of spine with scroll work on it, and you gingerly kind of flip it open to the first page, and the script, the title page reads "Rockworms of the Corcan Highlands."
okay.
That's the Highlands is where you are right now. And there's you flip through a couple pages, there's some drawings of these creatures, which actually you've heard of. I think Taimi and Esais have probably actually seen these things. They're large snake-like creatures that look very much like the rocks of the Highlands, so they're kind of hard to spot. So this appears to be some kind of study of their biology and life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And you put that one back, and you go to pick up the next one, and then you notice a book like 2 books away from that one jumps out an inch from its place on the shelf. And then with your hand on this next book, this other book is kind of quivering as it sits on the bookshelf.
Everybody, do you see what I'm seeing?
Everybody looks over. Kosti holds up the torch, and the book is just kind of like quivering there, and it sort of works its way out another quarter of an inch.
Is it out the amount that I have pulled that other book out?
No, it's more. Here we got some good ones.
Oh wow, it's really going for it.
Yeah.
And
the book, yeah, no, you've just touched on the next book. You haven't even pulled it out, and this book is doing this.
And I go to slide the book I touched back in again. Oh, I just touched it, and it.
Well, you slide it back in, and the book now just sort of stops, and it's still where it's worked out as far as it was, and it just sort of stops there.
Here's one that really wants to be read.
This is not making the argument for why I should learn how to read.
Who knew that this would be an anti-literacy adventure?
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah. How is Taimi feeling about this?
Actually, I mean, I say that, but then I also am thinking like, this wizard is employing we already know is employing creatures that look like other things. Like that could be some sort of beast. So I actually move to draw my knife. Do you think it's a creature? Something whose twisted form resembles a book?
That's a good guess.
I give it a poke with my knife.
You step forward and you poke it. So it's on a shelf. It's on a shelf. There's like a shelf above it, and it's resting on a shelf, and then there's a shelf above it. And when you poke it, it jumps up and hits the shelf above. Sorry, it's this one. Chunk. It sort of hits the shelf above, and then it flies out of the bookshelf, and it's hovering in the air, sort of right next to you, like this. Taimi, and then it opens up like this. Except that it's blank inside, and it's now hovering around eye level, right above you, kind of quivering.
And I say, hold on now. Book, teach me what you know.
The book turns towards Paiviki and flies at you forcefully.
All right. I think that she would try to duck it.
Okay. Make a saving throw with dexterity.
She fails.
Really?
4. She got a 4.
Oh, so mark dexterity. So the book flies towards you at so fast that you're unable to react, and it smashes into your face. You stagger back and crack your head on the rock of the wall. You take 1 point of damage.
Whew.
And 2 more books start to shake themselves off of the shelves.
I draw my bow and arrow.
Okay.
And I let one loose on the one that just attacked Paiviki.
So just to be clear, you're shooting in Paiviki's direction.
Oh, I thought Paiviki hit her head and was down.
No, in my mind, she's still up against the wall. She just cracked her head on the wall and is not falling down. And you're.
Oh, well,
Let me see if I can get to the room here. Oh, now that the room's missing. All right. So here's the bookshelf. I was picturing you being here. Paiviki got knocked here. And the book is here. And the other two are coming off the shelf there.
I already said that I drew my bow and arrow. How big is this room?
It's about 30 feet across.
Oh, okay. I would have drawn my bow and arrow.
Yeah, you got enough. I mean, you could take a jump back into the right and then take a shot at the book. That would be less, have no chance of shooting.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Make sure Paiviki won't be harmed. Okay.
Yeah, I do that extra step.
Okay. Muirin or Esais, anybody else up to anything?
I can spear one of the books that are
On the shelf?
shaking. Yeah.
Okay, so you go make a move to do that. Timey, go ahead and take your shot.
That would be a 10.
Nice. Deal your damage.
My short bow is a D6. That is 1 damage.
So your arrow, it's kind of floating in the air, and your arrow, sort of floats facing you a little bit, and your arrow pierces from the inside. It sort of hits the book and goes through, pokes through the other side of the cover. So it's like that, and then the book kind of spins towards you, and it's kind of doing this. Still very much animate, and then Muirin steps forward with the spear and tries to skewer one of the ones that's still on the shelf. So it's not really fighting, but you are going to have to, it's a pretty narrow spine you're trying to hit, and it's moving. So make a saving throw. And I'm going to say either dexterity or wisdom, because you're just trying to kind of keep calm as you're making that. So it's up to you which one to use.
I think it's dexterity,
okay.
Even though they're the same stat. Oh, cool. 11.
Okay, then deal your damage with that spear.
Okay. What is the damage of a spear? D.
E8.
D8, 1d8.
D8. Thank you. Ah, 3.
Okay. So you take a step forward and you just drive that spear right through the middle of the spine. You puncture it forcefully, and then when you pull the spear back out, the book's kind of stuck on the end of your spear, but it's not moving anymore. Paviki, or anybody, or Esais, or Kosti.
Kosti has a torch, but I don't know if I want to make the books burn. I think that let's see. There's that one book that's still flying around in the air.
Yep, and it looks like its attention is now on Tybee.
Okay. Kosti's going to try to grab the book that's on the bookshelf that's wiggling around and just kind of hold on to it, like just not let it go.
Like pull it out and just hold on to it?
Yeah.
Nice. Going for it, Kosti with his loving embrace.
Just sort of wrap around it so it can't fly.
Nice. Okay, great. Make a saving throw with strength.
He rolled a 9 minus 1.
Okay. Okay, you do it. But there's a catch. Okay. What did he do with his torch?
He's just kind of holding it like that with one hand. So he's kind of like trying for the football hold.
Okay, so he's got the torch. He grabs the book, and he pulls it like that, and that thing just starts to like shake around violently, and it whacks his hand on the bookshelf, and he drops the torch. Now the torch is resting on top of the books on the top shelf there.
The torch is on top of the bookshelf?
On top of some books that are on top of the bookshelf. They're starting to smoke.
Oh.
But he's got the book under control.
And then he says, "Help!"
So Esais is free, and I think, let's see here. I think Durbin charges forward, unless Esais wants to act first.
Durbin can go.
So Durbin, who's been sort of watching this whole thing, kind of like, looking like a little bit shocked and surprised, but then Kosti shouts for help, and Durbin runs past him and grabs the torch off of the bookshelf, and there's just a couple of little, there's like a burnt, smoking edge to one of the books up there. So he grabs the torch off the bookshelf and looks at Kosti like trying to figure out how he can help out. Meanwhile, the other book flies at Taimi.
This is the one still on the shelf, or the one that's mobile?
The one that's hovering.
Yeah. Bring it on.
So the only thing, it looks like Muirin dispatched the one that was on the shelf. Kosti has one he's wrestling with, and the only other moving book is the one in the air, and it's running it flies at you.
Yeah. I mean, of course I would want to take a shot, but I would understand this thing hasn't had a chance to attack me yet. And
in close quarters, it would be, I mean, you're pretty quick, and you can pull out arrows quick. Yeah, so it's kind of, what I would say is you could take a shot.
Could Esais throw the knife at it?
Yes. However, there are 2 people in that area which might get hit by the knife, so you can totally do that.
Oh no.
So in the perfect world, I'd love to do like a ducking maneuver if it's coming at me, drop my bow, and like re-engage with my knife.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we just let's make that a fight? You can just drop in your bow, drawing your knife, and ducking out of the way. Yeah, we'll just call that a fight.
All right. So is that a strength roll?
Yes. Well, actually, a knife is precise, so it's a dexterity roll.
Oh, I'll take that. That's an 11.
Okay, so you hit the ground, bow and arrow drop. You roll, knife's out when you pop back up, and you stab at it, and you deal your damage.
3.
How do you want to take this book apart?
Let's see. I think like if it's coming at me, and I assume it's like pages out towards me.
Yeah.
I duck and roll, and so I'm coming at it from behind, and I just kind of two-hand, just like get it through the spine and like bring it down to the ground.
Nice. Like pin it to the ground like a butterfly?
Yeah.
Okay. And you drive your knife into that red carpet on the ground. And you've pinned that book. Its pages flap violently for a moment, and then they gently flutter back into place. Costy's got that third book under control. This might be an opportunity for Timey to utter a pithy anti-book statement.
I'm working on a good plan.
So Durbin is kind of looking at Coasty, holding the torch, like wondering how he can help. What does Coasty do?
I think Coasty tries to just pin it down, like puts all his body weight on it and like pins it to the ground.
Okay.
So it can't move.
Yep.
And he said, "Help! Somebody help!"
I brandish the knife and say, "Hold it down, and I'll pierce it."
And he says, "Do it! Do it!"
Okay, so then Costy's got to like pull back for a second, and then I think so there is a moment where you have to take a little of the pressure off, and Timey has to make the move. Timey can just deal their damage, except that Coasty has to save with strength to hold it in place.
Okay. I rolled an 8 - 1.
Okay. There's a catch. Oh, so the catch is, Timey, your knife is gonna break on the stone floor.
Yeah.
If you follow through on this.
Yeah.
Okay. So Coasty pulls back and just go ahead and deal your damage to that book. D4.
1.
Oh! So you stab it, the tip of your knife snaps off on the ground, and then the book is like flapping wildly on the end of your knife. Like that. So now you got it pinned, but it's just still.
Can SIUs lunge at it to do another good stab?
Sure, yeah. Timey's holding on to it, so we can say that Timey is helping, right? Like if you're like trying to like keep it away
Control.
keep it away from her body, and that will be. It's not really. Well, no, I guess that would be a fight. Yeah, because the book is still active. So roll to fight. Roll to fight this book. That's a strength roll.
Okay.
Could it be Dex if she's using her knife still? Or she's using her spear?
Here, yeah.
SIUs was using his knife.
Oh, sorry, SIUs. I thought it was Mirren doing that. I apologize. Yeah, it's dexterity.
Well, okay. Okay, so that's 10.
Nice. Yeah, so one knife's holding out the book, the other knife comes down, and the blade of the second knife goes right through next to Tiny's hand. And now the book is sort of impaled from both ends, and it stops flapping.
Paiviki's rubbing her head, and she goes over to the book on the ground and says, "It's not what I meant." She's in rough shape. She's got 1 hit point left.
Oh, she really cracked her head. Oh, geez.
Oh, it would have been really sad if one of us died to a book.
The irony.
I would like to gather up. I got the one that I stabbed. If I gathered up the 3 books, would anybody stop me?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Altogether, those books they weigh 1.
Okay. Yeah, I'm encumbered, but I definitely want to like fashion them into some sort of bit. I want to use their hide. I want to make like a book cover, like shoulder pad, or like a book cover bracelet, bracer.
Oh my God, that's such a great idea. Tiny the Hunter. I mean, they are leather-bound books. So.
I'm like, this is the first magical creature that I've ever killed.
Nice.
And also my reminder to never learn to read.
Right, this is just underlining books are unsafe. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Well, foolishly, Paiviki wants to check to see if there's other books that are readable.
Among the books you notice, 2 scroll cases. One of them is made of bone, and the other one is kind of a it's not a cylinder. It's like a rectilinear. It's like a long, square-ended black leather scroll case. The other books that you can make out that are written in the common tongue, there's one called Phantoms and Warriors.
Okay.
One called The Fall of Vanat, which is the Venati civilization.
Mm. Yeah.
There's one called Songs of Darkness.
Okay.
And the last one in the common tongue is called The 5 Apertures of Understanding.
Okay.
There are 4 more books that you cannot decipher. One of them is in Venati, and the 3 others are in the strange language.
Okay. How much would it take to carry all these books?
Let's see. Altogether, these books. There's the problem of their volume, so to speak. But altogether, they add up to about 3 weight.
Okay.
But it's going to be arm loads, or I don't know if anybody has any room left in their backpack.
You can always ferry things with the prisoners, and
and you could, like, the bed cover could be turned into a sack.
Yeah.
You could just throw them in the bed cover and use that to bundle them up.
I think that's what I want to do for now. Just kind of like make a big load, but I'm totally laden down.
Well, how strong are you? 16?
15.
Yeah, so you're carrying more than when you're at capacity, you're still moving comfortably. So with this big bundle of books, you'll just be slowed down. But you can totally get around.
Well, we can also give it give it to Durbin. I mean, we just need to get it all outside and to get it into the cart.
Yeah, and Durbin is perfectly willing to help.
Okay.
Is Onikas still here?
Yes.
Okay.
He is not. There's enough people in the room to keep him from running away this time.
Okay. Are there any? Should we smash this tablet?
Oh, you're asking the group, yeah.
I'm asking the group. Yeah. Are we inviting trouble? Like, whatever the magician was planning. If somebody finds this list, could they pick up where he left off?
I think it's a good thing to destroy it. Says Marin.
Then yeah, but again, let's not smash it in here. Let's smash it outside. Scatter the rocks. Are there any drawers on the desk? Or is it just like a table?
It's just like a table, yeah. The only thing, I think that there's that little chest next to the bed. That's the only kind of and Kosti has completed his kind of a survey of the room. The only kind of unexplored thing is whatever's inside that chest.
Kosti will take a closer look at it. It's got a candle half melted on top.
Yep. Yeah, so it's got an iron clasp, and it's just like sitting, there's the little bit that sticks out. There's no lock on it. So if you undid the clasp, you should just be able to open the lid there.
And there's a candle melted on top?
Yeah, it's about it's a pretty fat tallow candle.
Kosti will light the candle.
Okay. So hold the torch over it.
Yeah.
The candle gets lit.
And then he'll blow the candle out.
Okay.
And then taking his knife, just kind of carefully lift the latch and push the top of the chest back.
Okay. The chest is about what was that, like 14 inches by 12. It's like a foot by 14 inches. So you pry open the lid, and say Durbin's holding the torch there, and you sort of peek inside, and there appears to be a bunch of dry grass, kind of like in kind of well, the whole thing just sort of be either filled or padded with dry grass. So it's just a mass of dry grass that you'd have to sort of either clear out or search through to figure out what's underneath it.
How strange, says Kosti. And I think he will take his knife and just kind of poke down into it.
There's a viper leaps out at Kosti's hand.
Okay.
Let's go.
What's Kosti gonna do?
A viper.
I mean, in this moment, nobody has any idea what it is. It just happens like that. But that is what is leaping out of the chest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he would just jerk his hand and body back so that he doesn't get struck.
Okay, make a saving throw with dexterity.
I rolled a 10 plus 1.
Oh my! Oh, so you jerk your hand back, and the viper, it kind of, lunges at air basically, and then recoils back into the grass. And everybody's like, ah. Durbin actually puts one hand on Kosti's shoulder. Like as Kosti was leaping back, Durbin was putting his hand on Kosti's shoulder and helping to pull him back.
Oh. He takes a step back.
And then, so he takes a step back, and then the viper actually slithers out of the chest. It goes up, down one side, and slithers under the bed. Just like that.
Whoa.
What was that?
And then he shouts, "Snake! Snake! Snake!" It starts kind of like stepping back, trying to see in the firelight like where the snake is.
Do we have the same kind of cultural prejudices against snakes?
That's totally up to you. I have not established that, and I have not laid down any law about snakes. So that's you guys are all members of this community.
Would people be okay if I just did a quick coin flip to see if we are or not?
Sure.
4, 5, and 6, we hate snakes. 3, we have no cultural prejudice against snakes.
Great.
That could be the wizard's familiar, says Paiviki. Maybe it's not an ordinary snake.
The wizard was keeping it as some sort of pet.
More than a pet. A friend. Or a servant.
Should we try to catch it and kill it?
On the other hand, it may have been a prisoner. Hard to say. The old man would keep a snake by his bed.
Probably protection. But yeah, maybe the snake had no choice.
Yeah, let's kill it.
Does Taimi have special snake hunting skills?
No. I was just gonna try to smash it with the chair or something, or the stool.
Everybody's sort of in a semicircle around the bed at a safe distance, and you all know that the viper is under that. The planks are right against the floor, but this thing is small enough to get right in there, so it went underneath the bed.
Ooh. If we flip the mattress off of the planks, and then we can use the spear to just lift off panel by panel, and then I can smash it with this stool.
Cosby says, it's probably just frightened. Why don't we just leave it alone?
But Paiviki said that it might be connected to the magician. It might still harbor his same ill demonic intent.
Well, since when is Paiviki the expert on wizards anyway?
Tiny pauses and gives a quizzical stare, up to the left. Well, she
Paiviki's just kind of like, ah. And Paiviki says, I want to know what's inside that box.
Does Coasty go back to the box, or is
No.
he too freaked out to get close to it again?
No, he doesn't want to. It seems like anybody who goes over there might be in danger. But maybe there's something of value in the box as well.
I definitely think that there's something of value in the box. No one keeps a snake in a box.
Just a snake in a box.
If there's one thing I know.
First law of the land: no one keeps a snake in a box. Is anybody brave enough to? Yeah. So what's the plan? You want to deal with the viper, or?
Well, so who would be the quickest to hit the snake should it appear after you lift?
I believe that.
I think it's me.
Yeah, you've got an 18 dex, right?
Hold on, says Costi. Just a minute. And Costi looks around the room to see if there's a like a jar or a bucket or something.
There is on the writing table. There's a little ceramic, decanter, about that big.
Oh,
Not big enough to fit over an entire.
Something you could fit a snake into.
Certainly out in the room with all the chemical supplies are. Yeah. There's a tin. There's like a tin bowl that could do that.
Yeah. He says, "Let me catch this snake."
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
So he goes and gets like a tin container from the room.
Okay.
And then asks to borrow one of the sticks from Mirren. The staffs.
Okay.
Can I borrow your staff?
Of course.
And then
which one you like?
The one that's not cursed. I tip the bucket on its side by the edge of the bed, and kind of peer under the bed to see from a distance to see if the snake is slithering around down there or what it's doing.
I think with a torchlight, the only light in this room is the torch.
Yeah.
And the heavy shadows. So Durbin does move into position to kind of hold it up because he understands what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I guess it appears to be, you can't see it between any of the cracks of the plank. It appears to be under one of them. The floor is somewhat uneven.
Yeah.
So the snake is totally out of sight.
Smart snake. Should we try shifting over those planks?
Yes.
If the snake is a normal snake, it's going to want to go into the bucket to hide.
As long as the chest is closed, because it might just try to go back into the chest.
Yeah, so we can say the chest, when you guys recoiled from the chest, the lid shut, so the chest is closed.
Okay.
And then what with a snake in a bucket?
Good point. We should throw something over it to cover it up. I'll tip the bucket up with the staff and cover it up with
Shield?
Kosty's got like a little bindle where he keeps his rations, and it's the thing that he rolled when he of random items. I'll just throw this on top of it.
So the goal is, just so I'm clear, you're going to hold the bowl or vessel on the ground next to the bed.
Lay it on its side.
On its side.
Not hold it, but
and try to lay it on its side, and then try to encourage the snake to get in there, and then you would turn it upright and put the thing on, or you turn it down?
I'd turn it upright.
Okay, then you sort of kick it upright and throw your cloth on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would probably use the stick. Keep the snake at an arm's, a staff's distance.
Okay. So it sounds like Kosti is manning the trap, and does Essayis have an opinion about this, being a trapper?
He approves.
Yes, he's okay. Great.
Yeah.
Super. And who's going to? We can do this in one roll with an assistant. Somebody will be helping. And who's going to try to get the snake to come out?
I will. I'll volunteer.
Okay. Timey steps into the fray. And how do you want to do that?
So I guess we've moved the mattress off the planks.
Yeah.
And I assume I'm wearing like thick boots. I'm wearing boots.
You are a wood.
I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to take the stool and like at a distance, just kind of like knock around. Like if this is the bed frame and we've put the bucket up here, yeah. I'm going to start knocking around here and start knocking that way to try to scare it that way.
Great.
Kong, 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 kong.
I think this is Kosti's operation, and you're helping Kosti.
Yeah.
Kosti, I think this is like, this is either intelligence or wisdom, this little maneuver. I'll let you make that call.
I'll do intelligence.
Okay. And you get +1 for being helped by Tiny.
Okay. So I rolled a 7 +1.
Okay. You do it when there's a catch. So the catch is, so the snake goes like dun 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 dun, and then there's a moment where it slithers from one plank to another, and then Tiny gets closer, and then it pokes its head out in Kosti's direction, and its little tongue goes la, 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 la. And then it doesn't know what to do, and then Tiny hits the plank that it's on, and it goes right to the bowl. Kosti, whatever you do to make the bowl go upright, and you throw your cloth on top of that. So you captured the viper. And the trade-off is I'm marking one of my threads. It's an off-screen countdown. And I'll just tell you, the beast is one step closer to waking up.
Yeah. Dilly-dallying.
Now, Kosti being a country person, and everybody else here, and SAEs in particular, knows that just a loose cloth on top of that bowl is not going to keep a snake in there. So you need some kind of firm, flat surface on top of that cloth to really, I guess you could pick up the bowl and hold the cloth tightly. That would be the other choice.
I mean, did you want to keep this for the long term? I just thought that you wanted to contain it so that we can like.
Good point. Can I put the let's see, can I put one of those dead books on top of it? Are any of those surfaces large enough?
There is one of the other books that you have in your bindle is big enough, but not the animated books, no.
Okay.
There's a big kind of book with a gray cover that like a really grimy, like greasy fingerprints all over it that's big enough to completely cover the top of the bowl.
Yeah.
What about the chest?
Yeah, let's just cover. I just want to put that book on top of the
Okay.
bucket for now.
Just hold it steady for now. Okay. So
Oh,
this
okay.
is- the Viper is well contained.
Yeah, let's look in that chest.
Okay. So you carefully who's gonna do that? Is Coasty back in that poking around position?
Sure.
Okay. You poke through the dry grass, and it's like it's like these kind of bundles of dry grass that have been kind of like twisted together and then packed in there to give the Viper a comfortable home. You sort of carefully pull out some of those bundles of grass, and underneath them you see a rolled up piece of vellum, a rolled up scroll tied with a leather thong of some kind, and a large shell about 8 inches long, which you pull out, and the shell looks like this. If you can, it's kind of hard to see there.
Oh, it says salt wall on it.
Yeah, so when Coasty pulls that out, Durbin says, Abayi, Abayi. And Onikas asks him something in Venati, and then he clarifies that Durbin recognizes the shell. It comes from in his home village. It is the shell of a what do you call oysters and clams? What's the
Mollusk.
Thank you. It's the shell of a mollusk that they eat there.
Onikas, you asked Durbin if this is a map or some sort of writing?
Durbin comes forward and inspects it and kind of scratches his head. He asks Onikas what this word is at the top, and Onikas tells him the name in his language. And he kind of scratches his chin, and you guys know that Salt Wall is the translation of his home village's name. And somebody roll for Durbin. Let's see here. Roll 2d6, and we're gonna have Donna. Will you roll for Durbin? And take +1 to the roll.
Okay. 10.
Okay. So he pauses over for a minute, and then he starts talking to Onikas in Venati, and Onikas translates. And Onikas says that he thinks that this is some kind of map, and that this darker area at the top of the shell underneath the word, this resembles the shape of the shoreline near his village, and that out in the bay, which is his village is a seaside village, and out in the bay there are a number of barrow isles where the Venati bury the most respected of their leaders, and have done so over many years, and they roughly correspond to these very crudely scratched shapes that are on the shell there. And Onikas asks some clarifying questions, and Durbin says that each one of these marks appears to correspond to the location of a very each one of these barrow isles is kind of a rocky small island on which they bury their honored dead. And he seems very puzzled by the fact that this map exists and that it is here.
Why are these 5 ones crossed out, I wonder, says Paviki.
And yeah, Durban has nothing to offer there.
Those names we found were not Vonti names, right?
No, those were Corcan names. Those were names from your people.
Okay. Yeah, the magician obviously was interested in this place, or someone associated with the magician.
What does the scroll say?
So you unwrap the scroll, and it looks like this.
Whoa.
And that language at the top left is that is Venati.
Oh, is all of this Venati?
No, yes, sorry, all those little labels are Venati. And Durban, with Onikus's help, tells you that the lower right word, I'll use my little pointer here, this says thin silver. The word above that just says woods or forest. The word over here says cliff, down at the bottom. And the upper left is older Venati that Durban recognizes as kind of ancient Venati, but he can't really make out the meaning of it. So it's his language, but it's older markings. And then the lower right, written in a different kind of ink, is in your tongue, the common tongue.
What about that middle mountain?
That translates to misty tooth. And the only other thing in the chest is a wooden vial with a beeswax seal on the top of it. And burned into the side of it is an acorn, the symbol of a simplified acorn.
Strange. Were the books that you found earlier in Venati or in the common tongue, Mirren?
Books. The one of them was in ancient Venati, and one was common. It was a journal. We could read it. Did we read it?
Yeah, so Durban tells you have not read the journal yet because it would take some time to read it, but it is written in the common tongue. And the Venati book, I think it was in common, and it was about how to read ancient Venati. So in theory, with that book as a guide and some time, you could decipher the ancient runes up there.
It's useful.
All right. I'm wondering if there's a key somewhere for that chest upstairs.
Which chest upstairs?
There's a large chest upstairs.
Right here, next to the beast.
Oh, we didn't open it?
No.
Oh, that's right. It was locked. Well, does our friend know where the key is?
Onikas?
Yeah.
It's under the chest.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Do you know what Isumat keeps in there?
Let's see here.
I wouldn't think that Islam has the dexterity to. I mean, let's look up 13.
It's true that Onikas helps him with finer motor skills, but he can scoop. Those claws have little fine tuning to them. Let's see here if Onikas can enlighten you. Okay, here we are. Yes. Onikas says this is where he kept most of the green glass he took from you. But as you could see, he also has turned much of it into a bed for himself. So I know not. Perhaps the chest is empty for all I know.
I think the last room to deal with down here is the alchemical room.
Yeah.
The central room there?
My instinct is to just burn everything here, but I do want to honor our word to leave this place inhabitable by Isilmat and Onekis. But I don't want to just leave these books and chemicals here. I don't want there to be any chance that anybody could come here and restart what this magician was doing.
Well, it seems like you're hauling out all the books so far.
Yeah.
There's definitely some, there is a variety of different alchemical supplies and stuff here. The summoning circle has not been completely defaced. So yeah, it certainly destroying what's left in the workshop room would partly serve your goals there. But as far as the books go, I think you guys are hauling them all out.
Is that the central room, the workshop room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you build a big fire down here, you'll smoke out the beast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'd like to deface the thing a little bit more before we leave, and then haul out the rest of the alchemical stuff.
We should think too. We came here to rescue our friends and to put an end to the dangers of this beast. If the beast is no longer being controlled, we should leave and try to get out of here before the beast wakes up.
I agree.
There's also the things that were taken from the village. We should, if we can take any of it with us, we should.
Onikas says, I once Isilmat awakes, I can convince him to leave, and I will return and burn all these things. Time's not having it.
That's I think that's kind, but his word means nothing to me.
Right.
But speaking of word, like, I think that we should. Our village isn't hurting for food or water or red cap. We just want our glass back and any other treasures that belong to the village. Like, I know upstairs there's a storeroom. I want to search it for glass, but I don't want to have to deal with taking all this stuff from him. That's not what the bargain was.
Taking all this stuff, you mean?
Well, I don't know. I know that he told us that there's a storeroom upstairs. If we look at the map, there's like a corridor that we hadn't gone to. And by his account, it kind of widens out into like a storeroom of sorts.
Right.
Yeah, I think the only thing before we haul stuff out of here that I want to do is I just want to like deface it just like a little bit more.
Okay. So does Time, are you going to take the hammer and chisel and just go back in there right now?
Yeah, I'll just go back there and just go buck wild for another like 20 minutes.
You're pretty strong, actually. So you were definitely stronger than Onikus. So, okay. So you're asking everybody to wait for just another 20 minutes before you...
No, people can start. We can start ferrying up.
Okay.
We got a lot of people, a lot of books to get out of here.
Okay. Great. And market duration on that torch.
Okay. So we burned through 2 torches, and so there's a third one that's burning now.
Okay. So is this your last torch?
The ones that I think somebody else said they had torches, but the ones that Paiviki had, yeah.
Yeah, Yarko has 2 torches upstairs.
Oh, upstairs. Okay. So you got some backup. Okay. Great. And as far as hauling stuff out, you've got all the books. Are you going to haul out the alchemical supplies as well?
I don't think that Taimi's smart enough to know what they are by looking at them. So I defer that decision to somebody else.
Okay, so just to be clear, your Taimi's goal here is to deface the ring and get the books out. Is that right?
Yes, because Taimi understands those to be part of the magician's source of dark power.
Got it. So yeah, and Durbin's helping move stuff too. So 20 minutes later, everybody's ready to go. So you ascend back to the top level. The beast is still silently, it's great. I guess it reminds me of Totoro the most. It has a slightly scarier aspect, but it's got this big kind of heaving chest as it kind of sleeps silently against the wall there, breathing very, very heavily. Yeah, so you guys all reemerge carefully, quietly, back up on this level, of course. Some people are going to move over and connect with Yarko and Sophias. I guess Sonoma and Lomo in particular are going to head that way. And then what would you like to do in this room, in the beast's den?
What's behind the curtain?
The curtain is, there's barrels and boxes that have clearly accumulated over the several months that the beast was extorting supplies from Reuna. So some of them are still full of, there's like dried goat meat, and there is like several barrels of the cheap stuff, of the cheap beetroot booze. And some just a couple of barrels of just rye grain. Wait, was it rye barley that you guys grow? So food supplies mostly.
Is
then-
that the green obsidian? Is that valuable to the villagers?
Yeah, for you guys, it's it's not super common, but it exists in a large enough numbers where one chip of the obsidian would be the equivalent of a silver piece minted by the High Court. So it's 1 silver piece per chip, and the beast has a bunch sort of scattered across its belly, and it's sleeping on a kind of pile of them. You got to figure over the time that the beast was taking stuff from you that it's several hundred, if not 1,000 or more pieces of this stuff.
Well, how big is this chest?
It's actually quite large. It's about 6 feet long.
6 feet long.
Yeah.
Is it pick upable by a couple of us? Because
Yeah,
I feel like we're just going to make a tremendous amount of noise if we try to ruffle through essentially a box of Legos.
right. Well, you know enough about these things. When they clink together, it's like a. I can tell you by experience, it's not as loud as actual Legos. If it's full, you won't be able to budge it. If this thing was empty, you could easily put your shoulder into it and push it across this floor.
Wow.
And it's locked.
Having this conversation, or if we're all in the beast chamber, I kind of motion for us not to converse in front of the beast, just to eliminate sound.
Yeah, there's like
do we let what if we just like camp out on the other side of this hill and wait for Onychus and the beast to wake and him to usher the beast out, and then we would be able to get rid of these books and do things at our leisure. But that's assuming that Onychus can convince the beast to leave. I think it's going to be a terrible risk to try to open up that chest and take handfuls of the green chip.
And that the beast won't sniff us out if we're nearby.
Well, as far as sound goes, it's true that time is passing, but the beast did sleep through the fight you had with the wolf, which was quite loud. The wolf was growling and yelping, and then when you guys came through this room and encountered Onychus and went through it, you've made a fair amount of noise in this room. So if his sleep is growing lighter, then sound would be a concern. But knowing what you know about the sound of the chips, it wouldn't be any louder than any noise you've made so far. Just to be clear on that. The trunk might scrape across the floor. That's true. If you had to move the trunk.
Well, if we're not worried about the sound, then let's just tip the trunk up, get the key, and then just barrel brigade it out of here.
Okay. Is that Taimi making that suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And who's going to pitch in to help push up? Take 2 people to lean that trunk up quietly on its edge.
Paiviki will help.
Okay. So, Taimi, you get +1 for Paiviki's health, and to do that quietly, what do you think?
I still think strength. I still think it's like a controlled lift.
Go for it.
That's a 10.
Okay. So you give it, give Paiviki the signal, and without making a sound, you tip the chest up. You can tell from the weight of it that there's something in there. It's not full, but there is something in there. Tip it up. I guess Mirren probably is in position to pull that key. There's a little well, not little, but for you guys, it's a decent size iron key that is pulled out. You set the chest back down. Lock opens easily and quietly. You lift the lid, and there's about 2 inches of the glass chips covering the bottom of the chest there. And there is nothing else in the chest that you can see.
Just a snake, the same color as the glass chips.
Oh yeah, what'd you do with the snake? I guess you still got it?
No, I think as we were leaving the downstairs area, I would say that Kosti just kind of nudges the book a tiny bit with the staff, just to give the snake a place to escape.
Downstairs.
Yeah.
Okay. So nobody's planning to go back to that basement.
Well, I thought we had already torn apart the.
Yeah, you had. I was just being clear. In my head, there was still a fire going to happen, but that's not going to happen. Okay, great. Kosti is kind to animals. Excellent. Okay. So, and then you said you were gonna bucket brigade the glass out of here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is no problem. I guess you would maybe take the books out of the bed cover and then use that or whatever other implements you have. And then move it out into the cart. There's that cart helpfully positioned outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the only thing you're able to get, a good quantity of those out there. And then there's still a fair amount that the beast is sleeping on. Are you going to leave those be or try to collect some?
The only thing I can think of is that, if Onicus, yeah, I don't know. I'm willing to let that be just the tax of the fee of all of us getting out of here alive.
Yeah.
There's no objections to that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you, in that case, everybody is gathered at the front entrance there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of you. There's the 6 of you. Yarko, remind me how Yarko got injured. What was that nasty? Like he lost the use of an arm? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I believe it was like his left arm or something. The beast like ripped it and essentially just like ripped it, almost ripped it out.
Yeah, so he can't use his left arm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no, it's 11. No, there's the 6 of you plus Tapias is 7, Durbin and Onicus, and then Sinelma and Lomo.
Oh, is Onicus coming with us? Or no, he's just there.
I mean, he's there at the mouth of the tunnel. Are you bidding him farewell at this point?
Yeah. Well, I have no more business with him.
Okay.
I think we should do what we set out to do and take our friends back to the village with as much of the stuff that we can carry.
I mean, I hold no ill will against Durbin. Like, if Durbin wishes to accompany us to the village, it seems like we're more connected than where we are right now to major roads. And it might be easier for him to get back to Saltwall. Yeah,
his other option would be to go solo over several days' journey to the south across the highlands. So if you make that offer to him, he will gladly take you up on it. And back in town, Tinny, the other elder, the one who tends to the tree, you guys know that Tinny knows Venati. So without Onychus, Tinny would be able to communicate with Durbin.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cart is loaded up with, we'll call it half of the green obsidian that was taken. You're burdened, you're all laden with books. Oh, and gosh, Paiviki has those 3 big topaz as well, right?
Yeah.
And is everybody ready to set off for home?
Yeah, I guess I'll approach Onychus one more time. It seems that our ways will part here.
He just gives you, he just kind of stares at you, actually. He doesn't look, I guess he has kind of a nonplussed expression on his face. And he just kind of nods. He doesn't say anything to you.
Do you plan to remain here with the beast?
Enough has happened to make me wonder if my place lies elsewhere. Do you know what happened to my hat?
Oh.
In the commotion of I do, but in the commotion of battling the wizard and freeing our friends, I couldn't keep track of such an important detail.
Kosti took his hat and then gave it back to him.
Oh,
Did he lose his hat somewhere?
I think in the midst of all of, yeah, he's hatless. He says, well, I guess I will look for it. Thank you for not killing me.
Kosti says, well, and thank you for helping us free our friends, and I hope that you will think otherwise if such a situation arises again, and remember that there are good people who live in Rayuna, and you shouldn't take our things. But I understand it probably was not anything that you had control over, or maybe, who knows? Well then, I've said enough. Goodbye.
You talk a lot, old man, but you're not so bad. The beast is no longer under the enchantment, so he may lose his interest in, sorry, he says Isilmat, not the beast. He may lose his interest in shiny things now. Safe journey across the highlands.
One day, not long from now, we will return and retrieve what is rightfully ours.
I suppose you will.
I've really beaten down this poor guy.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's meh, meh, meh. You also have like 8 or 9 goats that you're taking with you.
No.
You're leaving the goats?
Those goats are his.
No, they're yours. You mean those are the goats they stole?
Oh.
Village goats.
Well, all the goats came from you guys.
Oh, well, I'd leave him with a couple goats.
Okay, very kind. Okay, great. Well, he he doesn't say it verbally, but he is a little surprised and grateful that when you usher the goats out of the pen, you make sure that 2 remain behind.
Yeah. I'm frustrated with this guy, but I landed on the not murdering and side of things.
that coin flip.
Yeah.
Not murder. Okay, well, he sort of watches you go, and I suppose the 2 strongest people are probably hauling that cart, right? Which is probably Oh well, Yarko can't with his bad arm, but Paiviki and Taimi. I guess Tapias is probably going to lend a hand too. He'll push from behind it. But it's nighttime, so you're gonna have to camp out. And we can call it a night there. And next session we'll make the journey back to town. So next session we'll start with camping the night and then make it back to town. Almost done.
Yeah.
Sure. So we will conclude. We'll wrap up the evening. Did you fulfill at least one of your traits in a memorable way? Starting with, well, Yarko was out of commission.
Yeah.
So no luck there. Taimi.
I felt like I was curious. I felt like, I was poking around with the crucible and poking around with the...
Yeah, totally. Go ahead and mark for that. Muirin, focused and respectful. I feel like you always behave respectfully.
Right. So it wasn't super memorable.
Wasn't super memorable. Okay, I'll give you that option to take it or not take it. Totally up to you. You can make the call on that. Trying to... Right, there wasn't anything particularly respectful about your behavior there. Esais, selfless. Esais offered to escort the everybody back to the top floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he gets a point for
Well,
that. Kosti was both courteous and creative.
Yeah.
Making his little viper trap and being very thoughtful and polite to everyone. He was even courteous towards the viper. And Paiviki, covetous and selfish, really interested in those strange books, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get a point for that. Did you risk your life to help an ally or obtain an item of value? Oh, Kosti almost got bit by a viper. So Kosti gets a point for that. Anyone else risk their life to help somebody?
No, I don't think like dodging out of the way of the book or like the book fight. I don't know if I was risking my life.
Well, Paiviki was almost killed by a book.
No, but that was her fault.
That was her. Okay, right. And I guess to help an ally, right? Yeah, or obtain an item value. Yeah, okay. Nobody gets that. Did you witness the untimely death of a villager? No. And now everybody together gets XP for the following. Did you discover something exciting about the wider world?
Yeah, we found those maps of different places. This wizard's up to some shenanigans.
Yeah, lots of arrows pointing at the wider world. Everybody gets XP for that. Did you overcome a difficult obstacle? I would call dealing with that viper a problem. Oh, the books, actually. Well, no, that books would be the third. Yeah, no, the books. The books would be the most difficult part. Everybody gets XP for that. And did you acquire some memorable booty? Absolutely. You got 3 big topaz. You got strange wizard staff. A bunch of stuff. Okay. There we are.
Hey, I have a question about a human trait.
Yeah.
It says here when you wrap up, mark one ability of your choice. Like,
oh yeah,
when you wrap up the funnel, or is that every session?
Wrapping up is at the end of every session.
Oh.
So, where did I put that? Just looking through my my funnel rules to make sure that that is the current. Live to tell the tale. Oh, wait. Sorry. Live to tell the tale is at the very end of the whole funnel.
Okay.
I rewrote that. Yeah. So you get to do that when the next time when the whole thing wraps up, the funnel itself.
Bingo.
Any other questions about any of that?
When is the funnel part of the funnel officially over? When we get back to town?
Just when you get back to town. It's like a little more, we have to go through some more steps that will take a little more time.
Yeah.
So it's basically over now, but you're going to pass the night and then go back to town. And when you get back to town, it'll all be over. And then we'll see where you're at. And this potentially, is the beginning of a campaign if you guys wanted to keep playing. But what we'll do is we'll at least take you through the wrap up of the funnel, and then sort of see what the situation in the village is like.
Do we choose? I know kind of like the unspoken intention of the funnel is to throw fodder at an adventure and emerge with one unscathed villager.
Yeah.
But through good luck and careful planning, we're all still here. So if we do move to a campaign, would we select one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then your other villager would stay back in the village, and then they could potentially join, adventures in the future. They'd be like your second tier, or maybe not even second tier. But you could alternate, deciding who you want to go on an adventure or whatever. But yeah, in this case, all three of you have two characters that you could play around with.
Yeah. Can I ask a shop talkie question?
Yeah. Sure.
Is that how do you feel about that outcome of us emerging from the funnel, all of us with both characters intact?
I feel totally fine with it. I'm not. Yeah, I thought Yorko was dead, and then there was a luck roll that spared him there. And I honestly, I did. I mean, I think the kicker was Paiviki charging the wizard and killing him, like right there, like making that move, that very, very bold move. If it hadn't worked out the way that it did, things could have gone a very different direction.
Sure.
Besides that, the beast was unconscious the whole time. Yeah, I'm totally happy with the outcome, because I feel like you guys were actually cautious and smart every step of the way.
I didn't know if there was like an intended mortality rate, like in your, like when you design this, you're like, oh, I expect or would hope that there's like a 25 to 40% like rate.
Yeah, and I think the nature of the game is that you sort of don't know, and I think the flexibility of this versus a more kind of strictly old school rule system is that there is more room for potential survival, because there's things like burning luck to make a roll, or helping each other to make a roll better. I think it comes down to these key moments where, like when that rung broke on that ladder, Tybee was climbing down the ladder and the rung broke. If you had fallen, that could have killed you.
Yeah.
There were a couple of moments where if one thing had gone a little differently, somebody could have died. And just knowing that, and for me, it's less about how many people survive, more about does it feel like things are at risk as you're playing the game, right? Do you feel like, Paiviki banged her head on the cave wall and was one hit point away from potential doom? I think that's great. That's like, exciting. As long as you feel like something's at risk.
Yeah.
I think the game's working.
It seems like when you're at level 0, you're always at risk.
Yeah. And even level 1.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, you don't even necessarily, when you reach level 1, you re-roll your hit points, but your hit points only increase if you roll higher than your current amount.
Right.
Oh.
So, and then from then on, each time you get to an odd number level, your hit points will definitely increase. But from 0 to 1, there's a chance your hit points won't really go up that much.
Oh, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. The real tragedy will be if any of these people now die, because they've all kind of established their personalities, and but that's where the drama comes from. Okay, thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
I think we're all scheduled on the calendar. I think next week is what we're
The
doing.
next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, great. I am going to stop recording.